Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the news briefing for this Wednesday. We're starting off with a look at what we'll be talking about today. We'll first be having our questions with Dr. Moreno on COVID-19. Following that, we're going to talk about the first-time homebuyers workshop that is coming up this weekend. We'll also talk to our friends at MST about their new fairs and some other interesting projects that they have going on. And we will wrap it up with our friend Cindy Burnham from Hitchcock Road Animal Services, who will give us the shelter report card and also talk about an extended puppy season that they are seeing and why that is not such a good thing. Even though you see all those cute puppy pictures, not necessarily good. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our COVID-19 questions. And Dr. Moreno, good afternoon, Dr. Moreno.
Hello, Mia.
If anyone has questions for Dr. Moreno, go ahead and put them in the chat. I do have one question for you already received, Dr. Moreno. With the recent reports of pharmacies in California experiencing a drug shortage, particularly in children's medicine, do you know if local pharmacies here in Monterey County have been experiencing a shortage in over-the-counter children's medicine?
Thank you, Mia. So, and good afternoon. No, I don't have any information or data on pharmacy supplies for cold medicines that could treat COVID or other or help treat symptoms with COVID or other respiratory illnesses. What I would say is that if any parent of a child who has symptoms of COVID or any type of upper respiratory viral illness, that they can ask for suggestions from the local pharmacist, or they can also call their local healthcare provider for suggestions.
Thank you, Dr. Moreno. Next question, looking at the Monterey County Health Department COVID-19 numbers over the last month, there is a trend upwards. What are your thoughts on this?
So what we've seen over the last 2 winters is an increase in COVID transmission here locally and across the state, and we're entering the another winter. So if the trend continues, we will likely see some increase in COVID transmission this winter as well. So again, it's really important for people to take advantage of this time to get vaccinated against COVID. So you're fully vaccinated and up to date, which can prevent serious illness and also prevent hospitalization.
Thank you, Dr. Moreno. Any other questions for Dr. Moreno today? Give it a second here, and there don't seem to be any other questions. Thank you, as always, for taking questions today. If any additional questions do come in, we will forward them to you.
All right, thank you.
Our next topic is going to be a workshop for first-time home buyers. It's coming up this weekend. Home buying can be very daunting, but for first-time buyers or those needing housing assistance programs, there is a lot to know. Monterey County residents can take part in a special first-time home buyers workshop this coming Saturday, and that will be a very big help. We're very pleased to have Jonathan Torres with Echo Housing here to talk about what people can expect for this workshop and what they will learn. Good afternoon, Jonathan.
Good afternoon. I was about to say good morning, but it's already past 12. Do you mind if I'm able to share my screen?
Please do.
Okay.
Nice to see you.
Great. Okay, great. Let me know if you can see my screen.
We see you.
Okay, great. So I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be here today and just briefly talk about Echo Housing and the first-time homebuyer education workshops that we generally host on a monthly basis. So if many of you aren't familiar with Echo Housing, we are the qualified fair housing organization out in Monterey County. And so we provide several different housing services, including tenant-landlord dispute resolution. We educate a lot of tenants and landlords regarding their rights. And as you can imagine, it's kind of been a overflow of issues related to housing and the pandemic. And so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We do have a housing counselor out in Salinas who works all throughout Monterey County. But I think for today, I just kind of want to talk about our homebuyer education program. So here at Echo, We do the first-time homebuyer education workshops, and then we also do pre-purchase counseling. So with regards to our homebuyer education workshops, this is an 8-hour HUD certified homebuyer workshop. So participants, and I do apologize for the typos, participants receive the HUD certified homebuyer education certificate once they complete the workshop. Again, it's 8 hours. We usually host these on the weekend to allow folks to attend because it's a little bit more difficult to have them during the weekday. And then many times folks ask me, you know, what do I use the certificate for? And so I've kind of listed the top 3 reasons. You know, perhaps you're applying for a down payment assistance program. I always recommend folks to go to the city or the county website, see what type of home ownership opportunities are offered in your jurisdiction. And sometimes, most of the time, it'll say that you will need the HUD certificate. In some jurisdictions, you have things called below market rate programs. These are programs where, say the home is valued at, you know, $700,000. Through a below market rate program, they can offer you the home at $350,000. I'm just giving an example. It varies from program to program. And then finally, the certificate is also good for certain loan products to obtain better rates. And usually your lender is going to say, hey, if you take the workshop, provide me the certificate, we're able to provide you, you know, this decrease in your interest rate or APR. And what's really nice about our workshop is that usually I invite several presenters. We talk about, we have a first-time homebuyer lender who works extensively with first-time homebuyers. And then I also have a realtor who also works with first-time homebuyers. And this is a really good way to meet folks who maybe you don't know how to connect with the realtor, how to connect with the lender. And what I really like about them is that, you know, their focus is really about education, about connecting you with someone who already knows how to navigate some of those fears and insecurities being a potential home buyer. We do host our workshops on Zoom right now. We're hoping that sometime next year, potentially in the spring or in the summer, we can begin hosting them in person. But you know, we're very cautious, especially during the winter where you have, you know, surges in COVID and you get people who have the cold and the flu. And so we try to prevent those. And we recognize that, you know, some people may be immunocompromised. And so it's just an easy way. You log in, bam, it's there. You don't have to show your face. You don't have to talk. You basically get to hear me most of the entire workshop. And then I do request that, again, I apologize for the typo. Maybe I should do these presentations, write them up, you know, a few days before than the day of. We do provide translation services. And so I do request that you let us know 2 weeks in advance that you need translation services. One of the most common questions I've received is will we ever have the workshop in Spanish? And the answer is, I don't know. We've attempted to have them in Spanish, but our turnout tends to be 0. And so, you know, I am a Spanish speaker and it does take a lot more work for me to speak in Spanish, especially when we talk about the home buying process in Spanish. So we also offer that translation services for those that need it, who still need to attend the workshop. And so some of the upcoming workshops that we're going to have, and so we're going to have one this Saturday at 10, this Saturday, December 10th. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so the deadline to register is going to be December 9th. So it's going to be on Friday. And then we're also hosting one Saturday, January 14th of 2023. Again, this is going to be from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then we will be hosting another one February 4th from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And so I do recommend folks to go on our website. To register, you just have to go onto our website. You scroll down, and then there's going to be a tab that says Homebuyer Education Workshop, and then you could go into the registration. There are some documents you're going to have to upload, again, because we fall under HUD rules. We have to be HUD compliant, and so we do have some disclosures to provide you. However, if you have issues uploading, shoot me an email. And then I can manually upload them onto the portal myself or our IT person, just so we can get you into the system. So if there are any questions regarding our first-time homebuyer workshop, I'm more than happy to stay on here and answer some questions.
Thank you very much, Jonathan, and thanks for walking through what people can expect during this workshop. I think people are thinking, I really want to buy a house, but I don't really know what I need to know. I do have a question for you. A lot of this is focused on the HUD certification program.
Yes.
Do you need to be looking for a HUD program in order to take this workshop? Is this something that the average home buyer could also gain a lot of information from?
Yes, and actually, I want to correct you. So the certificate is not to be used only with HUD programs. There are a variety of different programs that you require the HUD certificate. For example, if you are planning to use an FHA loan and you go to the state's website, Cal FHA, and you want to use a loan product with them, they may request, or you are going to have that HUD certificate. And so the certificate is good for any program that requires it. I think that there's sometimes a misconception that you can only use this certificate for HUD assisted programs, and that's not true. For example, BMR programs, the below market rate programs, are not HUD funded at all. They're actually city or county specific programs where they allocate a certain percentage of new construction towards affordable housing. And so it's city ran or county ran, and they do require the certificate, but they're not funded by HUD whatsoever.
So this workshop would be good for a home buyer at any level who may feel they don't know enough about the process to be a good home buyer, to be maybe a savvy home buyer. And they may also find it. Would they get information during the workshop about some of the programs that are out there that the HUD certificate would be applicable to, such as the ones you mentioned?
So one of the things about yes, in short, that the workshop is meant to give folks a foundation of the home buying process. I can give you an example. For example, if you go to new construction homes and when you sign in and enter, you've waived your right to have representation by a realtor. Essentially, you are bound by the construction company's real estate agent who is going to also represent you. We call that a dual agent, an agent that represents the construction company, but the agent also represents you. And so that's a common mistake folks do, because then you ask, well, who does this agent have a responsibility to? Me as the potential home buyer or the construction company? And then you can think of the ethical, even moral issues that come with that. And so part of the workshop is set to provide a foundation of what the process is, what are the things that you're going to be looking at. We do talk about some of the more commonly used loan products, but as you can imagine, there's hundreds and thousands of them. And so this is why we bring in folks who are first-time home buyer lenders and real estate agents to really connect you with folks so they can then analyze your specific situation and best advise you on what the best product might be for you and your household.
Great information as usual. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for walking us through what people can expect at the workshop, and encourage people at any level to get informed and get educated if they want to buy a house.
Right. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Our next topic is going to be with our friends at Monterey Salinas Transit. New fares are going into effect this week with MST, but that is not the only good news and information that they have to share with us today. We're very pleased to have General Manager Carl Sedoryk with us to talk about the new fares, but also how MST has been rebalancing its services for the community. Good afternoon, Carl.
Good afternoon, and I am going to attempt to share my screen here. Hold on just a second. And let's see, share. Nope.
Yep.
That's not it. Yeah.
Well, interesting email, though.
Yeah, there we are. There we are. Do you see that?
We do.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we're here today to talk about the Better Bus Network, which will be implemented this Saturday, December 10th. This is the biggest service change that MST has implemented in over 25 years. It's really due to what we learned during the pandemic. We all know that during the early days of the pandemic, no one was riding the bus unless you absolutely had to. And we found that we experienced over 1 million trips during 2020 and 2021 each year. So there was still a number of people in our community that really depended on transit. And even with the pandemic, they were using transit. And so we were really going to focus our services on where the services are needed the most, in lower income communities, disadvantaged communities. And we went through an over a year-long process with dozens of community meetings, listening to our riders about what they wanted out of our system. And what they wanted was faster travel times, more direct routes, and service where it's needed the most. I put these under the topics MST's vision for our brand is to connecting communities, creating opportunity, and being kind to our planet. So under that, so for connecting communities, we're offering these faster travel times, more direct routes, providing the service where it's needed the most, in lower income and communities and neighborhoods where car ownership is lower than other parts. So moving services maybe from higher income communities in Carmel by the Sea or Pacific Grove, and focusing some of those services in urban Salinas or South County communities is what you're going to see happening here. We're also lowering our fares. Previously, we had a $1.50, $2.50, or $3.50 per bus, depending on the route you were riding. That was based on the distance that the route traveled. We're now just going to a flat rate of $2, provides you with 2 hours of unlimited travel. We're lowering our pass prices and using our very innovative, first of its kind contactless fare payment system. You can actually cap your fares every day, week, or month. So you'll know that you're not going to pay more than a flat amount each day, each week, each month. Finally, as far as being kind to our planet, 100% of MST's fleet, heavy-duty fleet, is run on 100% renewable fuels, no fossil fuel, and then also with zero-emission electric buses at this time. As I mentioned, this is the first system-wide comprehensive redesign in decades. We used feedback from our riders and from our community on what they wanted. They wanted shorter, faster trips. And our board of directors wanted us to focus on the highest need areas where the demand is the greatest, and a better geographic balance towards work and home trips. So with that, prior to this, service was about 55% in the Monterey Seaside Marina areas, and about 30% in the greater Salinas area, and about 15% regionally. That's being rebalanced to 40% in the Monterey Peninsula cities, between Marina and through the Monterey Peninsula, Carmel by the Sea, 40% in the greater Salinas area, and 20% regionally. Through a very quick transfer process, occurring at our major transfer locations where people will need to wait no more than 5 minutes for their bus to transfer, you're going to see an average of a 30-minute decrease in travel time. 20% increase in residents and jobs that will be near services that will have buses running 30 minutes or faster in between buses. We also offer this year, because we did reduce service areas in some locations, we have kicked off a subsidized van pool program. So if there's a group of people in a neighborhood or in an area that want to take a van pool to work, perhaps the transit service doesn't run when they want it, or it's not as frequent as they would like it. If a group of 5 or more folks want to participate in a van pool, log on to mst.org. And you can form a van pool, and MST is subsidizing those van pools of up to $450 per month per van pool. So that can lower your cost of transportation as well if the bus isn't working for you. So saving time, save up to 95 minutes per trip. you can see at this chart, there are some really significant time savings, specifically between the South County communities and Seaside. Say a trip from Soledad to Natividad will be 70 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes less travel time. That is going to be accomplished through more frequent service on our line 23, as well as quicker transfer times in the Salinas area and more service in that area. So you can see from this chart, from Soledad to the Northridge Mall, a 95-minute reduction in travel time accomplished in the same manner. So on average, passengers will see at least 30 minutes reduction on their travel time when we implement this service. Saving money, $2 for 2 hours, and also reduced fare rates. Currently, today, if you were to buy a monthly pass, which I wouldn't advise you to do, it would cost you $95, because on Saturday, that same monthly pass will only cost $70. Weekly passes will go from $25 to $20, day passes from $10 to $6. With our cash fares being $2 for 2 hours, 98% of our cash paying passengers will see a reduction of at least 36% or more. And then again, paying with a contactless card. If you pay with a contactless Visa, debit, credit, or a Cash App card, if you don't have a bank account, you can get a Cash App card. Your fares will be capped at $6 per day, $20 per week, or no more than $70 in a month. Again, with our zero emission buses and renewable fuels, you can reduce your greenhouse gas impact on the planet by 42% per trip that you take as compared to driving in a car. So again, you can all be kinder to our planet and reduce the impacts of global climate change by using transit more. You don't have to take it every day, just take it once a week. Surveys have shown that just taking transit once a week has a bigger climate impact than buying a low energy appliance or resealing your windows. It's one of the most energy efficient things you can do, is to drive your car less and to use transit more. So that's what we have on our Better Bus Network, taking effect December 10th. Go to www.mst.org, and you can actually, we have a trip planner that we've devised that you can put in your origin and destinations, and you can see how your trip will change, mostly for the better, with the new service as compared to what's happening out there today. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Carl. This is just fantastic information. So one question for you. We're lowering fares, but somewhat doing more. This is a huge commitment that MST is doing to increase ridership. How are you making this work?
Well, we have funding right now that was part of our COVID relief package. And we are drawing on those funds to kick this off. And our goal is to increase ridership enough. We believe that the demand that will be generated by those areas that already have the highest demand, by having more service and a lower fare, we think we can fill these buses up and provide a better service and actually help us financially as well.
Sounds like a monthly bus pass would be a great holiday gift for somebody, don't you think?
Absolutely. And you can buy them online at mst.org or at any one of our many customer locations, including Costco's and many other retail outlets around the county. Just go to mst.org to find that out.
Thank you so much for walking us through this rebalancing. Really fascinating. And I think people who don't realize what the process has been and the rethinking has been, this gives people a new way to look at bus ridership and say, well, it wouldn't take me that long to get from Soledad over to Monterey if I wanted to go over there for an afternoon. It makes it more user-friendly.
Absolutely. And, wait time. That's what we really tried to where we're seeing our savings with this new network is reducing the amount of time waiting for that next bus, waiting for the transfer, and also less time meandering through neighborhoods, picking up 1 or 2 passengers. And for those 1 or 2 passengers in some of these neighborhoods that we were once meandering through, they may have a little bit of a longer walk. And, we can't be all things to all people. And that's the decision that our board made, is to provide the best service to the most people with the limited resources we have. I see KRKC's on the line, and one of our bigger changes is that King City will be the first of the South County cities to have their MST on-call service replaced with a fixed route circulator bus service. Now, just not to be confused, MST ride service for persons with disabilities will continue. That's not going away. But in some of our South County cities, we had an on-call service rather than a regular bus where you would call and we would come and get you within an hour or two. Now, we are just going to have buses that are going to be circulating around every half hour through the South County cities, and King City will be kicking that off on December 10th because they were the first ones to get their bus stops installed. So good job on King City.
First come, first serve,
There you
always
go.
applies, right?
That's right.
Well, this is all such great information. Thank you very much for being on our news briefing today and sharing what's happening with MST and all this good news.
Thank you.
And then last, but of course not least, we're very pleased to have Cindy Burnham, our Animal Services Administrator with Hitchcock Road Animal Services. All those adorable puppy pictures that you're seeing on the Hitchcock Road Animal Services social media are actually, they're cute but concerning. So the shelter is seeing a lot of puppies right now at a very unusual time of the year. So Cindy is here to talk about what might be causing that and what we can all do to help. Plus, cuteness alert, there could be a puppy seen in her office. So we just want to warn people in advance, puppies might be present. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, Maya. Thank you. I'm Cindy Burnham, Animal Services Administrator for Monterey County. And full disclosure, the puppies I was going to have with me are all on our puppy spay day in our clinic right now. So they're all getting spayed and neutered and prepped, and not many were willing participants quite yet from our clinic. So I don't have the cuteness factor. I do apologize, but I do have pictures. So I'm going to share my screen, but why I'm here is to kind of highlight and ask the community for some help, because we are seeing an increase in puppies, in dogs in general, and we are asking our community to help us so that we can help them. So I'm going to share my screen. So yes, we're Hitchcock Road Animal Services. We are serving Salinas and Monterey County, 160 Hitchcock. Our website is hitchcockroadanimals.org. And there's my contact information should anybody need it. So today's discussion points, I do want to go over our weekly report card that we've started posting in the last few months to highlight what's happening here, our puppies, our concerns, some of the efforts that we're doing. I have some adoptable animals to show you and kind of our ask. So the 2 puppies I have highlighted here are recent ones that we've gotten in just in the last few days. They all come with siblings. And that's part of our concern, is that there's just not one coming in at a time. So our report card, we started showing this report card a few months back because we really want the community to know this is what's happening in your city and county animal shelter. We've been hitting those arrows of capacity over into the red a lot, primarily with dogs. Knock on wood, our cats are doing okay, but that's because we had a lot of support from our rescue groups in the last couple of weeks to take some of our kitties from us into their programs. I did a post last night, kind of like a Hail Mary, because at one point yesterday we were at 125% capacity. And so we need the community to know that our intake is animals are coming in faster than they're going out, and we are doing everything we can to get them out. We're just seeing decreases in fosters popping up, adoptions, owners coming to reclaim. We know that it's the holidays and that it's hard because everybody's extra committed and extra busy, but the animals are continuing to come in. We usually do see a decline in December in our intake. We're just not seeing that. we are seeing kind of that same intake that we started seeing May into June when things really started to open up. So in the last week, we've taken in 73 animals. And looking at our stats, 37 of those came to us as of Monday. Since Monday, Tuesday, and then today, we've taken in 7 cats and 30 dogs. And like I said, there's litters of puppies being found. There's multiple dogs coming in at once being found. And we don't necessarily have one reason for it. We have some speculation on a lot of different things, and to probably make this perfect storm. We're coming out of a pandemic where we've seen the last couple of years with reduced veterinary care for people due to just our vets not being able to have the capacity. We are noting some limited vet capacity in our local vet clinics up and down the state. Actually, in general, there is noted shortages in veterinary staff all over, and it is a discussion even at shelter levels. If you don't have vet staff, you can't see clients. You know, there's always, when there's talk of recession and economic issues, then it makes it harder for people to afford pets. We do think that the increase in puppies that we're seeing has been some of that limited vet access because people weren't able to go in and fix their pets. We were really hitting it hard into 2019 and early 2020 with increased vet support and spay and neuter, and then the pandemic hit and a lot of that stopped. I will say the city and the county have continued to fund mobile spay neuter clinics. This year, the city's contributed over $40,000 in mobile spay neuter, and the counties contributed $109,000 in mobile spay neuter clinics for Salinas and county residents. And we are looking to continue that support because we know that it's needed. It's never enough, but it is absolutely out there. If you need access to that, we want people to know that it may not be immediate, but we can get you on a list and we can make it happen. So that's our kind of weekly report card of what's going on here in the shelter. Puppies. Told you I'd have cute pictures, and we actually got holiday style pictures here. We are seeing more and more puppies. In the last 2 months, we've taken in 64 puppies. Same time last year, we took in 39. So what is that, about a 40% increase? And we're not taking in just 1 or 2 puppies at a time. These 3 puppies here are 3 out of 8 that were found running out on Old Stage Road earlier, or the end of last week, earlier this week, at this age. So 3-4-month-old puppies. That's not, you know, we've had other litters found. And so it is highly suspect that they weren't just 8 puppies that got loose. We have not had owners come to claim them. They are getting ready for adoption, so they'll be up for adoption, I think tomorrow. But we're seeing more and more of these puppies, and we just want people to know, if you have a pet that needs to get fixed, please ask for help. If you can't care for your pets, please ask for help. If these puppies were left, or as I know the term is dumped, that is abandonment, that is illegal. We don't want people to have to go to those measures. Ask for help. Come through our doors. If you tell us the truth, we'll try to help you. We'll refer you to somebody that can. And so we were lucky to get these pups in our care safely before they were hit by cars or injured. And so now we're going to try to find them some permanent homes in the next couple days. As I talked about, it usually is slowing down this time of year. It's not. It does. These continual increases make hard decisions come to the forefront here. We are taking it day by day, dog by dog, and we are really not wanting to have to euthanize because we have too many. So we're working really hard, which is why we're sending this message out to the community that we need fosters, we need adopters, we need owners to come reclaim. We will help you. And I've kind of gone through these already. What are we doing? We're reducing adoption fees. We are having a holiday open house this Saturday, which I got all worked up on puppy pictures. I forgot to make a post about, but we are having a holiday open house this Saturday from 1 to 4, and it's name your price adoptions. Whatever you'd like to pay us, we will take it, because we are just wanting animals to get adopted. We are reducing boarding fees. for pets reclaimed in the first 3 days, which statistics show that's when animals are reclaimed. We post everything on our website. We just ask that you help us get the word out. If you've lost a pet, we have a texting program that you can text and get links and reminders and pictures and videos, everything you could want to help you find your lost pet, or if you found one, also to get them home. We have resources available. Again, even if it's not directly from us, we can try to find that for you. Call us, email us, let us know. But do that before you get to the point of, I can't have this dog anymore, and you leave it by the side of the road. That's not okay. It's never okay. And if you've known someone that has lost their pet, have them call us or help. We a lot of times get neighbors to say, hey, that's my neighbor's dog. Great. Have your neighbor come and get their dog. We want to return their dog to them. These are some of the adoptables. We had 30 up for adoption out of the 76 we currently have, because those 46 are still working through their hold periods. We're trying to make owner contact, but we do have 30 that are up for adoption. Here's some of them. As you can see, we have a lot of large dogs, a lot of shepherds and huskies, and a few of them got in the festive mood, whether they liked it or not, in the last couple days. We've just got some really nice dogs. Gucci here was a dog that it took folks 3 weeks to catch him. He was left out on the side of the road. We finally caught him. Biggest love ever. Sakura is a nice dog. Akita mix that staff is just in love with. A lot of great dogs. And because I can't forget the kitties also, we got to do a plug for the kitties. We've got 17 adoptable cats right now, all ages. We are still seeing kittens trickle in. But we've got some just big loves of cats right now as well. The last one, Marilyn on the bottom, she's got the cutest spots on her nose. So our ask of the community is, take pet responsibility seriously, help us help them. Dogs running loose, animal abandonment are against the law in every community. It's not okay. Your dogs need to be on your property, so that they're not causing or possibly endangering themselves or others. Help us help them. Come reclaim your pet if you've lost them. Come look for them. If you're looking to adopt, now's the time. We have dogs that need adoption in the next couple days, or temporarily foster. We also have a volunteer program. We're getting ready to really crank up our onboarding come the new year. And of course, donations at our open house on Saturday. If you make a donation, we're doing a drawing for a cat supply basket and a dog supply basket that we've put together here as a thank you to those who donate. And we want people to know that pet overpopulation is not a shelter problem. Our shelter is working 7 days a week to have positive outcomes, live outcomes for the animals here. You can know that every effort is being made to get animals out of here if we can. It does take community support though. When we don't have folks taking animals out, there is nowhere for them to go. And we want to support pet owners as much as we can so that pets stay in the home. Our field officers have things like dog houses and zip lines and bark collars that they have on them so that they can help pet owners be successful with their pets so they don't have to come to the shelter. And last but not least, if you see something, say something. It's hard for us to proceed with abandonment or neglect or something if we don't have the information. If we have it and it's creditable and we can use it, we absolutely will look into it. We're doing our best to do that. So with that, here's our contact information, hitchcockroadanimals.org. We also have an email if you have any questions. Our shelter hours are Tuesday through Saturday from 1 to 5. And as I mentioned, we have a holiday open house this Saturday from 1 to 4. If anybody wants a flyer, I can send you one. We've also got a Facebook event on that event on Saturday, and there might be a Santa sighting. We're still working on the scheduling part of that.
Couple questions for you, Cindy. You talked about accepting donations at your open house. What types of donation is the shelter currently in need of?
We're always in need of food. Dog, cat kibble, canned food is great because If you've been out here, you can see that we're surrounded by fields on 4 sides, and canned food is easy to store and it keeps those rodents out of it. So canned food is always amazing. Blankets. This is getting cold and we really try to double up on blankets when we can this time of year, and we're always going through them because we've got some busy bee dogs that like to eat them. Monetary donations, we do use those. They stay here at Animal Services. We do have an online portal for the first time this year, so we can also take those. So those are some of the main things.
And another question here. I know if anyone is on any media platforms like Nextdoor, they see lots of posts about lost and found dogs. There seems to be just somebody's lost a dog or somebody's found the dog. But yet at the shelter, we're talking about people who leave these dogs unclaimed. It seems to be you're hearing, one side of the problem and then the other side of the problem. Any thoughts on that?
We have a lot of people who they lose their pet or they find a pet, they go to social media before we even know. So, and we've got a lot of folks who are on their own doing matchups of what's on social media and who's here. And we've got some great volunteers who kind of keep an eye on and monitor both worlds. But yeah, it's difficult knowing that there's all of the ones that are here that nobody's coming to look for. And then there's folks that are doing, everything they can to find them, and we never find those dogs. So it's just look everywhere, post everywhere, but also come here physically, to look at the shelter as well, because not everybody lets us know, but then others don't also do social media. So it's almost like you've got to have some crossover.
And then last question, you mentioned the need for fostering. I've heard from people where they say, I really want to foster, but I worry I'm going to fall in love with a dog and I'll be a foster failure. But yet it really, fosters can control the parameters of how they support the dog. And I see your posts about a dog just needing a break from the shelter, just to get out and reduce the stress and keep them in that adoptable frame of mind.
Yes, fosters literally save lives, and not the worst thing to be a foster failure. I'm one too. But sometimes dogs need a break. It is a shelter environment is very hard on dogs. They're always running at it like 110% of every time somebody walks down the kennels, they get amped up, and then there's feeders, and then there's walkers, and their ability to settle causes stress. And so fosters, even temporary fosters, can give dogs a break and let them decompress and keep them in that calm mode. A lot of dogs, larger dog breeds, the smart working dogs, shepherds, that constant stress, over time, they really lose that ability to calm down. And then they're constantly stressed. And then we have to worry about behaviors that might become safety issues. So fosters are great. If it's a week, 2 weeks, to give them that decompression and that time, if you're helping us network and get them out in the community, and everybody has their own network of social media or emails or family members that we're not able to access here at the shelter, and maybe that's how we find a match. If it just affects that one dog, that's great. It saved that one dog, and that's where we're at. Is we've got some great individual dogs that we need to leave the shelter, and if one person says, yeah, I can help that one dog, then that's made a difference for that dog.
Thank you, Cindy, and best of luck on your holiday open house this weekend, and keeping our fingers crossed for all those pets looking for their forever home.
Thank you, Maya.
Thank you, and thanks very much, everyone, for joining us on the news briefing this week. Our next briefing is next week. We'll see you then.